Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be part 3 of the May 2024 Bargain Bead Box, the Tropical Heat collection. I have had so much fun working with this box. The colors are gorgeous, perfect for summer. So you can see I'm wearing a pair of earrings that I'm going to show you how to make today. A couple of you had asked, you wanted a full video of how these were made, or how the bracelet was made actually, which I was planning to do anyway. It was going to be part of my video. I did do a short on the link. I've also got a few other pieces that I have made with some of the beads I hadn't used in the first 2 videos. Before we begin, please like the video if you do like the video, subscribe to the channel if you like the content here, and hit that notification bell because I am going to be uploading every Friday, but there might be a couple of videos that sneak in here and there. So definitely have the notification on. Without further ado, let's get to the video. Making this link today from the May 2024 Tropical Heat collection, a bracelet and a pair of earrings. I'm also going to show you the link I made for this bracelet here because I do want to make a pair of earrings for this. Now, making the link is very easy. I will show you how to do it, and then I just used a magnetic clasp to put everything together and my own homemade jump rings. This is the bracelet I made in part 2 of the series of 3, and it goes really well with the overall look of this bracelet, these beads. I did show you in the video that I made the bracelet with this lobster claw. Unfortunately, I really do not like the shape of this lobster claw. It is very hard to open, very hard to stay open, very hard to put your bracelet on. I used it in a necklace, and again, I'm having issues. So if you have issues with this type of lobster claw, I will show you in this video as well how to make this little hook. So I made this little hook for the bracelet that was featured in part 2. So today we're going to be using number 15 on your list. This is a 16 by 12 millimeter oval ring link. So we're going to be using some of those today. I used these, I believe, in part 1 of this series. I don't know if I used it in part 2, I can't remember. But these are number 10 on your list. They're the 4.5 by 5.5 millimeter crystal faceted triangle beads. These are in sunshine. I'm telling you, I love these beads. They make every piece of jewelry that I've made with them so beautiful. And I just had to use them today. Again, I still have quite a bit left. These are number 5 on your list, and they are the 10 millimeter quartz round beads in crimson. They are very, very pretty. I love this color. It puts me in the mood for summer. And then the bead caps. So these are number 13 on your list. They're 7.5 millimeter bead caps. Okay, so we're going to be using that today. I'm going to be using what is left of my half round wire in faux gold. I have ordered some more. I'm going to try to be a little careful because this is all I've got left. And I love using this type of wire for this type of link. It just works out beautifully. You can get this on Amazon. I will leave the link to this in the description below. And then of course, some tools, needle nose pliers, flush cutters, and then a square mandrel as well to do this bracelet here. We're going to be using this today. I'm still using my 18 gauge faux gold wire from Parawire. And then we're going to also be using 28 gauge wire. This is also on faux gold from Parawire. We're going to be using some of that today. And also a ruler. And as I progress with this video, we may pull some other pieces out. Again, if we do, I will let you know. Okay, let's get started. So I'm going to cut a piece of wire approximately 3 inches long. It does not have to be long at all. So about there. This is approximately 3, could be a little bit less. And I'm going to take my round nose pliers, and with the flat end towards me, I am going to go around a mark. I made this mark, you can't see the mark too good, but there is a mark on my pliers. I have 4 marks, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to use the biggest one, and that's where I'm going to sit, approximately 1 inch down. I'm going to bend it back, adjust the plier, and then bring that wire around so that it sits like that. Leave that open, and you're going to add one of the oval rings. You're going to take your pliers and hold the loop very gently, and we're going to go around just taking your finger, taking the wire, and just wrapping it around just a couple of times. I'm going to use my other pliers just to press down the end of that so there's nothing sharp sticking out anymore. Now we're going to add one of the triangle crystal beads. We're going to add one of the bead caps, the 10mm quartz, a bead cap, and another crystal bead. So this is what we have here. And we're going to do the same exact thing on the other side. And just hold your pliers as close to that crystal bead as you can don't hold it too tight. You don't want to break that bead. And you're going to do the same thing as you did before. Now you're going to find, depending on the size, that this is going to be a little bit too long. So I'm going to pull my pliers down a little bit. And that's what we have there. And we are going to add another oval link gently. And I want to hold that loop just under the oval bead, like so. And then take your wire with your fingers and just bring it around on top of the crystal bead twice. And that's all you need. Trim off, press down your end, and we have our link. So now I've got two made. I'm not going to add an oval link. I'm just going to put this part, the bead part, between these two oval links. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to take another piece, cut about 3 inches, same as we did before. Go down a little bit. And we're going to do the exact same thing as we did before. So you want to go about 1 inch down with the flat part facing upwards. Bend your wire around, bend it back around again, so it sits like that. Do not close it. You want to add one of these oval rings, or links, I guess. Hold just underneath where the wire is, and then bend this wire with your fingers around twice. Trim off. And I'm just going to press that end in with my pliers, making sure there is no jagged edge. Then you're going to add the same sequence of beads again. I'm going to make my loop on top of that sequence I just finished. And then just press that down a little bit and leave it open. And then add your other link to it. And then wrap around twice. Then I'm going to trim and press that end in as well. I think at this point I'm going to add just one more link but not with an oval bead, because I've got about 2.5 inches yet, 2 inches for sure. I cut off a 3-inch piece of wire and I did the first loop and I closed it off. So just do the same thing as you did here. Make your loop and just close it off. I'm going to add the next link, same sequence of beads. Now I do have a little bit of excess here, but that's okay. And I'm leaving this one here for the clasp I'm going to make for this bracelet. So I'm bending that over, adjust the plier, bend it around, and then just adjust so there's enough room for at least 2 loops here. And add it to one of the sides of the bracelet that you're making. And like before, just make your 2 loops just above that crystal bead. Trim off and press in that end so there is nothing sharp. So here I have approximately just a little less than an inch of space left. So this is going to be the focal part of our bracelet. I'm going to make this clasp here. So I'm taking about a 2 to 2.5 inch piece of the 18 gauge wire. I'm going to take these pliers here and I am going to make my clasp. So now I'm putting the wire approximately here in between these pliers, and I'm using this size here, okay, for the first part of my clasp, and I'm just going to bend that wire around. Yeah, that's what you have there. And then I'm going to take the second wire, or the second size here, this one here, and I'm going to place my pliers right about there so that there's a little space, maybe a little more than 1/4 inch from the plier to the end of the loop I just made. And I'm going to go around, go past the loop I just made, or the hook I just made, so that your wire is sitting like that. I'm going to take my flush cutters and I'm going to take the blunt, I'm going to take the flush side here, and I'm going to go in, rest it up against, I don't know if you can see that, I'm going to rest it right up against this side of the hook I just made and trim it off. So I'm just going to adjust this, make it a little more straight. I'm going to take my flat nose pliers and I am just going to make a little bend here. Like that. Press it in. Now I'm going to go and hammer this piece. So I'm just going to hammer here, on here. I'm going to hammer this little loop there, and I'm just going to hammer the end of that. And I will be right back. All hammered. Now, after hammering, you will notice that my loop has really come apart from the main hook. So I am going to press this to the side. I'm going to take my round nose pliers, and these have the groove in them, which I really like. I'm going to press that so that it goes just past the hook. I'm going to pull it back a little bit and bend it in. What you'll notice if you do hammer, especially flatten that out, it's going to get, this is very sharp. I'm going to just take a file and I'm just going to make this so it's not, I'm just going to file this until there's no sharp edges. You don't want sharp edges on your clasp. And there. the clasp is done. I'm just going to press this one in a little bit. And that is my clasp. So I'm going to add the clasp to the one end loop that I made. So I'm just going to pull it to the side and add it. And there you go. Now I don't think this is going to fit. I'm going to need to add a couple of jump rings. Now what you could do, if you find yourself at this point where, you know, it's not quite fitting, you could add one more of these oval ring links, or you could add jump rings. So it just depends on what you want to do. I think I'm going to add one more. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to take another piece of my half round wire, but this time I'm not going to make a very big, I'm not going to use a very big piece, probably 1.5 inches. So you're pretty much going to do the same thing again. Make sure the flat part is facing you. And I'm going to go about 3/4 inch down, bend it around so that your piece is like that. Add one of the add an oval ring, and then just bend the wire around like you did before a couple of times. Press the end piece down, as always. I'm getting rid of that sharp piece. I'm going to do the exact same thing. Now what you can do is we could add a little crystal to that, just to give it a little bling, make it look pretty. And then just do the same thing, adding your loop, pressing it in. And we're going to add that to this side so that our clasp has something to grab onto. Okay, and then I'm just going to wrap that wire around just a couple of times, twice, just to keep everything the same. Now I did cut a little shorter piece, so if you do have a hard time grabbing that wire, just take a pair of pliers and grab it. I'm trying not to waste too much of that half round wire because I'm almost out, and I use half round wire a lot, so press that down. Just don't like anything sticking out or being sharp, just in case. Now I'm just going to loop my clasp in there, and there you have it. A pretty little bracelet, and honestly it goes with all the other ones that I made with this collection. Okay, we're going to do a pair of earrings now, and we're going to cut off a slightly larger piece. So this would be about 3.5 inches. So slightly larger than what we were using for the actual bracelet. And I'm going to take the wire and I'm going to put it directly in between a flat nose pair of pliers. They're flat on the inside, round on the outside. And make sure the flat part of the half round is facing this way, or whichever way that you're going to do the bend, make sure it's inside that. And then with the wire pretty much in the middle, bend it around like this. Press it into the pliers so you get this type of shape. Now we're going to add our bead cap, the 10mm quartz, another bead cap so it encases that quartz, one crystal, The really nice thing about the half round wire is that it fits all beads. Nice tiny beads even. And I'm going to make another loop at the end. I'm going to go one size smaller on my pliers, bend, adjust your pliers, and then bend back. Now you've got two pieces to contend with. And then I want you to add another oval link. Just like you did with the bracelet, hold underneath the oval link, the wire, and then just bend that around twice. If you have a hard time grabbing the wire with your fingers, definitely use another pair of pliers. It's not a big deal. I'm going to have to for the second piece because it's a little bit shorter. I'm going to trim those off. And then I'm going to press them in. Always being mindful of that crystal, because if you press too hard, it will break it. Now we have the link for our earring. Now you can either add your ear wire to this side, or you can add it to this side. It just depends on what you like. I like the bead at the bottom. So I'm going to add a jump ring, and I think I'm going to add these ones. I love these earring hooks. I think they're so pretty. So we're going to use those today. All right, I'm going to add the jump rings. Add my ear wire. And close it up. And there is a really cute pair of earrings to go with that bracelet. So there's a really cute set made with those 10mm quartz and the oval links. I love it. I think it's so summery with links like this. Also the earrings, I love matching up bracelets with earrings. And I think those came out really pretty. So here's a bracelet that I made using a similar link as I did in my first video. So the first part 1 to this series. I will leave the videos part 1 and part 2 in the description area below. So if you check out part 1, the link that I made here is similar. Now it's quite a bit smaller than the original link in the earrings that I made, but basically the same pattern used for this bracelet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a pair of earrings. I'll show you how to make this link here. It's very easy, does not take any time at all. Honestly, you will love how simple this is. It looks complicated. At least some people told me it looked a little complicated. It's not, honestly, and it's very simple. To make the link, you're going to need a piece of wire that's 3.5 inches in length, and you're going to need your square mandrel. We are going to be using the second tier on my square mandrel. You're going to put it right in the middle, like you did with the other pair of earrings. So right in the middle. And you're going to bend it. And then we are going to bend it over like that. We're just going to adjust this link a little bit. And that's what we have there. And for my posts, you want to put your pliers, and I'm putting them at the almost to the end of these pliers. I want the smaller space between these posts, and try to get it in the middle as best you can between here and here in the middle. Well, it looks pretty good to me. And I'm going to bend them up. That's your post done. Made myself a little guide out of an old piece of wire. So between this mark here on the wire and the end is 3 1/8 inch. And that's what I want my post's length to be. So just match up the mark that you made to the very edge of the first post. And then we're going to cut that, trim it off. Do the same thing to the other side. And you can kind of eye it up, see where it's going to be sitting, where it's straight. And there it is, perfectly straight. These, you know, if you have old wire, it is wonderful. Just bend the end so you have something to hold on to, and then just make your mark. Because I'm going to be making a lot of these bracelets and earrings, so this will help me big time without having to pull my ruler out all the time. I have this little guide for this particular pattern. Now we're going to cut a piece of our 28 gauge wire, and again, because I am going to be making a few more of these, I have taken an old piece of wire, cut it to the length I want. This one is 5 inches. So a 5-inch piece of 28 gauge. You can use 26 gauge if you want, but I find 28 gauge for this particular small link works just as good. And I'm just going to put that plastic thing back on here to keep my 28 gauge from unraveling. And we're ready to do our link. Now this one is quite a bit smaller than the earrings we did, so be patient with yourself. Get a pair of magnifying glasses if you need to. And I'm just wrapping that 28 gauge around one of the posts. And the first loop is already done. So I'm wrapping around the post, an end piece about 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to do 2 loops around that post, 2, and then come back around to the front. And you can use your fingers for this. There. So this is what we have. I'm going to take 1 of the octagon beads. So we're using the octagon beads today. They are number 8 on your list. That are 8mm crystal faceted octagon bead. And now we have it on the link. And then what I want you to do is take your wire and go around one side of the base wire. Pull it through tight. If you need pliers to pull it tight, go ahead. And then go back around to the back, pulling it out the front on the other side of this wire that's holding the bead. So you lock it in like that. Then I'm going to go back to the bottom, and I'm going to do 1 loop around those 2 loops that we just created to hold the bead. So just go like that, back to the back, and make a loop around that. And this wire is being a little bit funky, so I'm going to grab it with my pliers. There. And now we've locked everything in. And then I want to go back up through the hole of the octagon bead with my wire the back way. So go back up, and you will see the wire pop out the front, pop out the top, I mean. Now be very careful when you pull this wire. You do not want it to knot up, and it will. So just go very slow. There. We're going to make 2 more loops on the top, encasing both of these wires here between the posts. So do that twice. So 1, 2, and then I'm going to take that wire from the back, and I'm going to bring it around and circle, make a couple of loops around the wires here that are holding the bead. So those wires in between the base wire and the bead, holding the bead. Same as what we did on the bottom, just going to do it on the top. And I'm just going to do it a couple of times just to finish off. One of the reasons I like doing this is because it looks pretty, for one, and two, it secures the wire so when I cut it, it will not unravel. So I've done it twice, and I'm going to bring the wire back around to the front, just pull it to the side like that, and trim off. And you won't feel anything. If you do, even just take your round nose pliers, because this is a small link, and just press it in. Now with this piece, so we have one more piece here, this tail. I'm going to go back this way, and we're going to come around the other way, the opposite direction, and do the same exact thing. So make a couple of loops around that wire that's securing the octagon bead. Just do it twice, because there's not a lot of wire here to work with, so I'm going to do it twice only, and have it sit to the side. Trim it off, and then press it down. So I'm going to take this pair of pliers. Now I used these pair of pliers in my first video. I'm not sure if I did it in my second video, but definitely in my first video. And I'm using the 2mm side. So right at the end there. And I'm going to press the post into a loop. Do the same on the other side. Just make sure the loop is going in the same direction. And as you can see, they are really curved in this way. I want to pull them back out. So I'm just going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to pull on them to bring them back straight. Flat nose pliers to press these out a little bit. Do a little bit adjustments here, adjustments there, just to make your link perfect the way you like it. And that is your first link done. Okay, so there is 2 links done. I'm going to show you how to attach them. Very easy to do. So normally when I'm dealing with jump rings, I pull the jump ring open from the side, but with this link here, I have to actually pull it open this way. So I don't want to do, I'm just going to pull it slightly open, because to add them to the next link, you have to go that way. So I'm going to add them to the next link by opening these loops this way. And it's really easy. At the bottom, you just press, just go slow, you press them in. Then all you have to do is take your round nose pliers and press them back closed again. And as long as you don't do this too many times, you won't damage the integrity of the wire. If you're constantly opening and closing these, the wire will eventually break, so don't do that. There you go. And this basically, you can do earrings, you can do a pendant if you wanted to. The bracelet that I made, all I did here was add jump rings and then added my clasp. Same thing here. So I just made the jump rings and then just added the jump rings to add the clasp. So now that I've showed you that, this is the base point of like the bracelet, anything that you want to make. I want to make a pair of earrings today, so that's what I'm going to do. So when you make the bracelet, you don't do anything with these loops. You just keep adding the next one after the next one. For the earrings, I am going to have to press my top loops in a bit so that I can capture the jump ring. So I'm going to add my jump ring. And I am going to close it up. Then I'm going to take my ear wires, and I'm going to just use my regular ear wires that I have. Now there is a front and a back to this. Both my loops here are coming to the back here. So turn it over because I don't want the loops to be closed at the front. I want them to be closed at the back. I'm going to add the ear wire. So turn that around because that'll be the front. There, and we just made a really cute pair of earrings that go with the bracelet that was made. There is the bracelet that was made with that link. And again, all you have to do is just make your links and continually add them until you have the size you want. Jump rings and whatever clasps you want to do. And there's a pair of earrings that go with. Very cute. Okay, here we are with the part 3 video of the May 2024 Bargain Bead Box, the Tropical Heat Collection. I really enjoyed creating with this box. These colors are gorgeous, perfect for summer, and all the pieces here very, very easy to make. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video. I would love for you to try some of these pieces. They are very, very easy to make. And everything goes with everything. I just love the way they put color together. With that, I'm going to get going here. You guys have a great day, and I hope to see you back here for the next video. Bye.